Hello, welcome to Frank's School. This is the 7th year, 18th day first video. I don't know how this is going to work. I want to show you this, and I've moved the camera. It may not be light enough. I probably maybe should pick the camera up at some point and film it from around. Let me try to explain what you're looking at. This is my proposal for the way to hold soil on a garden, a living roof. Imagine soil being held here, earth. This is a pallet. It's an upside down pallet. These are plastic containers, and they can go like that to hold soil as well if needed. They would have to be a hole put in the bottom or slit down. This is coffee. Here's milk, and I did this a bit hurriedly, and the soil would slide off. Scientists study that. They call it the slope, the critical slope angle or something like that. And for a lot of things, it's maybe 30 degrees. This would be 45 degrees. And the soil would certainly fall out. If it were just sand, for example, would run right out. This board right there is to indicate a spot where you could put your foot if you walked on this. Now, these pallets are small, and it's for a fence. The fences that I build out of pallets can be roofed, and I just thought it would be a little easier to show you inside here. These are 32 inches by 32 inches, and they're square. The pallets they're called GMA pallets, Grocers Manufacturers Association pallets. They're 48 inches by 40 inches, and they're much heavier. But the principles are the same. This is a stringer. These are stringers, and the stringers would act like dams to hold the soil, or to hold the containers. This is the top decking because this is upside down. This is the bottom decking. And they, for their part, would help as well. I could even run something across there if I wanted. Whatever it takes to hold the soil on there. Well, I'm going to start to take this apart. And I want to show you some pretty nasty materials. Well, nasty in a way. This material, this is bale wrap. And I had said elsewhere, it's like working in cellophane because it wants to stick to itself. It's only 1 mil thick. And I use this on the side of the faux cuts to break the wind. And in a way, it's almost like having a layer of paint that you can actually handle. It's almost that thin, probably is that thin. The cats are liking my thing. All right, I'm going to start to take this apart and show you some other materials. And as I said, to be able to walk on there, on the roof, it would be nice to have a place to put your foot down. It's doable. That's sort of a long story. And actually, when I was in Portugal, and maybe other places, but in Lisbon, I saw that they would build roofs and they would actually put tiles there ready to be a place for someone to stand on. So that was why that was there. This material is not maybe so nasty, but it's what's used to wrap bales, or one way to wrap bales. And my neighbor, when he took it off his bales, he was pretty good with it. He didn't just, he gathered it somewhat nicely. Anyway, to support this, to keep it from sliding off the roof, my intention is to sling it. I don't know if you can see on the other side, to sling it like saddlebags on a horse, I keep saying. But what keeps it from sliding? Now, probably I'll end up using fence wire. But that will rust eventually, to come over and hook around here and go back. There's various possibilities. That material, the blue stuff I just showed you, would be doable. All right, now there's the upside down pallet. That's what would support the living roof. All right. This material is truly nasty stuff. It's not maybe disgusting, but I regard it as dangerous. This is called bale net, and they use it to wrap bales. instead of the blue stuff. It's a sort of a newer technology. And farmers really don't know what to do with this stuff. They burn it. It ends up going into a pile and they burn it. You know, it's like so many things, it's manufactured, but without a good solution about, all right, what do you do with it then? What do they call that, life cycle now? Anyway, nasty though it is strong. And I draped it over the top to show that it could be one of the ways that, I don't know about the pallet, but it would keep the soil from sliding off. And surely roots, just like this hay, roots would work their way in there. So it's a possibility, and it's a problem. It's all over the place. So that is nailed. Oh, I better take the pallet off the other side too. That's the one that was slung on the other side. Alright, now I can take this off, but you see, it's slung over it, and it would be plenty strong. So it's got some possibility. Not much fun to handle. You know, in a way you could say, oh, that's kind of pretty stuff. I regard it as dangerous for animals getting tangled in it. Like me right now. Alright, this is just an old tarp. And you know, you could use an old tarp. You've got to have a layer to get rid of the water. Otherwise it's not going to really be a true roof. So you've got to have an impervious material. Now this is an old tarp, and you could say, well, why don't you just use tarps? Well, I object to the color. If I could get white ones, I'd maybe be tempted. I don't know. But also sort of a nasty material, because as it gets old, well, in any case, there's no reason why you couldn't put it up there, and that'd probably be as good thing as any. But it gets old and it leaks. This is a feed sack. There's lots and lots of this stuff on a farm. It would shed a lot of water, but I doubt if it would be completely impervious. Here is the main thing for shedding water. And I can get this acres of it, really. It's called bunker cover. It's 7 mil. It's white on one side, black on the other. And I don't know if you remember the word albedo, or if you know it, but if you lay this down on the ground, that will bounce sunlight and heat back into space. If you lay it this way, the black surface will absorb the heat. And in terms of farming and gardening with pallets and plastic, I think this is a very critical and very useful material. And it will be the one that I count on to actually truly shed the water. Now this stuff has been used, and that's why I say I can get it by the acre, and it's used, because once it's used, once again, farmers don't know what to do with it. And they usually just burn it, is what they do. Now this is full of holes, but you can tape those holes, and you can also cut them away. And they don't matter so much on the ground as extreme mulching, but they would as a roof. All right, now here's the roof itself. Now to keep it from spreading out, that's called thrust. On a fence, this would be a fence for a roof for a fence. I have a stop there, and it's a little hard I'll show that outside. But right now I just have a piece of baler twine to keep it from spreading out. Now I use these stringers as rafters on a fence. If I were putting it on a faux cut, I would turn this the other way, and these stringers would then become bridging or between the principal rafters. I can't explain this all, but one thing I did want to show you is that maybe it may fall, but I'll see if I can take this apart. At the top, to keep this one from falling in, I nailed a block. But then that makes it off-centered, and you have to put a block on the bottom of the other one to make it, to space it so it's still centered. Well, that's been a mess. It's been in a hurry, but now you can have maybe some idea of what I have in mind for the soil for the living roofs. Bye for now.